like and subscribe my YouTube channel. At first, everything felt normal. But there was one thing I never shared with anyone. I was struggling to understand myself, like many young people. I had questions about my identity and feelings. Instead of talking to someone, I kept everything locked inside. Sometimes I searched for videos online, hoping they would somehow help me understand what I was feeling. I never expected anyone to find out. One evening, Daniel returned to the room earlier than expected. I was sitting at my desk with my headphones on. I didn't hear the door open. When I finally looked up, he was standing there. His expression changed immediately. My heart dropped. I quickly closed my laptop, but it was too late. He had already seen enough to know what I had been watching. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence felt endless. I wanted the floor to open beneath me. I expected him to laugh, insult me, or tell everyone in the hostel. Instead, he sat down on his bed and stared at the wall. The next few minutes were some of the longest of my life. Finally, he spoke. "You don't have to explain anything," he said quietly. But I felt like I needed to. Words poured out of me. I told him I was confused. I told him I was scared. I told him I didn't know who I was. Most importantly, I begged him not to tell anyone. He listened. Then he nodded. "Your secret is safe with me." For the first time that evening, I felt relief. Unfortunately, that relief didn't last. Over the following weeks, something changed between us. Daniel became more controlling. At first, it was subtle. He started asking questions about where I went and who I spent time with. Then he began making comments that made me uncomfortable. Whenever I tried to ignore them, he would remind me that he knew my secret. The reminder always felt like a threat, even when he pretended it was a joke. I started feeling trapped. The room that once felt like home no longer felt safe. I couldn't focus on my studies. I couldn't sleep properly. Every time I walked through the door, I felt anxious. One night, things reached a breaking point. We argued. For the first time since becoming roommates, I stood up for myself. I told him that friendship didn't give him the right to control me. I told him that keeping my secret didn't mean he owned me. His reaction shocked me. He became angry. Not loud, not violent, but cold. The kind of cold that makes a person seem like a stranger. For several days afterward, we barely spoke. The silence was uncomfortable, but it also gave me time to think. I realized something important. I had spent so much energy protecting my secret that I had forgotten to protect myself. Keeping a secret should never require giving someone power over your life. A real friend respects your boundaries. A real friend doesn't use your fears against you. Eventually, I decided to talk to someone I trusted. It was one of the hardest decisions I had ever made. I was terrified, but carrying everything alone had become even harder. The person listened carefully. They didn't judge me. They didn't laugh. They didn't treat me differently. For the first time, I understood that my fear had been much larger than reality. Not everyone would react badly. Not everyone would betray me. Not everyone would use my vulnerability against me. With support, I requested a room change. A few weeks later, I moved out. The day I carried my last box into the hallway, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Freedom. Daniel watched silently from across the room. Neither of us said much. There was nothing left to say. Some friendships end with a dramatic confrontation. Ours ended with quiet disappointment. Years have passed since then. I still remember that room. I still remember the fear of having a secret exposed. But what I remember most is the lesson I learned. Secrets can make us feel isolated. Shame can convince us that we deserve poor treatment. Fear can keep us trapped in situations that hurt us. But none of those things define who we are. Today, I understand that everyone has parts of themselves they struggle to share. Everyone has moments of confusion. Everyone has fears. The important thing is finding people who respect you rather than control you. People who support you rather than use your vulnerability against you. Looking back, I no longer see that experience as the story of a secret. I see it as the story of learning self-respect. Because the moment I stopped letting fear control me was the moment my life finally began moving forward. And that is the part of the story I will never be ashamed to tell.